Hi, this video is looking at language analysis for the GCSE English Language. So you have two reading papers, so you need to analyse language in these. A typical question you might have to analyse is you read an extract and the question is, how does the writer create a sense of danger and intention for the reader? So the idea is you'd read the extract and you'd pick out words and quotes that show danger and tension. So grade 1 to 3 to a grade 4. There's a few changes, a few things you can do to really help yourselves. So first of all, you want to write a small explanation of a lot of quotes. So this is what you wouldn't want to do, where this person's written 13 or 14 lines, but they've only talked about one quote with a massive commentary, which probably a lot of it will just be repeating the point they're making. So remember, if these are 10 marks, it's basically one quote a mark. So if you only talk about one quote, you can probably only get 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10. Well, if you do what this person does, where you've got shorter explanations with a lot of quotes, you can get a sort of 5 out of 10. So the trick is pick out a quote and then in 1 or 2 sentences say why the writer has used that quote. So again, like I said, one quote equals 1 mark. Terminology is not needed on every point, so you don't need to keep telling the reader, the examiner, that it's a simile or alliteration, unless you can make a really good point about the effect. So fair enough, talk about personification, but you must say the effect of the personification. You're not going to get any marks for picking out a quota and just saying that's a simile. So what stops people getting a grade 4? It's too much time spent on low mark questions, not enough quotes. That's the big thing. So the examiner says plenty of quotes gives a student high marks. So the how question, or the language analysis question, can be summed up by asking, why is the writer bothered to use certain words, verbs and adjectives, and why has the writer used these words on purpose? So if they intentionally use these words, why has the writer done that? So it's all about being a human dictionary or thesaurus. Pick out the words in the quote that stands out to you and say what it means. So for example, if I give you a quote of "he walked down the stairs," that is not going to tell me a lot about the character. But if the question was, how was the man presented? Like I said, he walked down the stairs is going to tell us nothing. But if I change that verb to crept, it totally changes how the man is presented. So like I said, if it's walked up the stairs, it's not really going to tell us a lot about the character. But if it's crept up the stairs, it's maybe telling us that the character is trying to be secretive or not being seen. So for example, the word crept suggests the man is trying to walk down quietly or not to be noticed at all. Again, if we look at another one, how is the teacher presented? If it was the teacher spoke to the student, we're not going to say a hell of a lot about that. But if it's the teacher yelled at the student, just changing the verb again changes how the teacher is presented. So it goes from, maybe placid and calm to being angry. Yeah, if the teacher yells, he's angry about something. If we look at another example question, how does the writer present the weather with the quote, "the rain crashed against the window"? If it was, again, look at the verbs being used. If it was the rain pattered against the window, what image do you get? Maybe soft, gentle, and your answer would be the word pattered suggests the rain was soft and gentle. But again, if it was crashed, which is like what it's asked us to do, crashed, what image do you get? So you get power, violence, pain. So again, if there's the word crashed, what kind of rain would it be? Would it be sort of this, wouldn't it? A powerful rain, a violent rain. So again, be a human dictionary, say what the word means. If I looked up crash in the dictionary, what does it say? Well, it actually says violent, noisy. Yeah, so put that into your answer. So my answer would be, the writer presents the weather with the word crashed. This makes the storm seem violent and noisy. So my green is the focus of the question, my yellow is my quote, and my blue is explanation of why crashed. How does that present the weather? So we're going to look at, in my class, just an example, we're going to look at a video. So the video will be for you to look at, and I'll put it in the link if you want to have a look. This is a guy who did vlogs about him learning to drive. So if we look at a few answers then, how does the writer show Kieran's girlfriend was wealthy? And the quote was, her family had a mansion since the day she was born. So again, human dictionary, what does the word mansion mean? Well, your answer could be, the writer shows Kieran's girlfriend was wealthy with mansion. This tells the reader she lives in a very large, impressive house. So again, what does the word mansion mean? Be a human dictionary. If it was, how does the writer shows Kieran's feelings about the size of his car? He felt completely cramped by the size of his car. Again, be a human dictionary. What does cramped mean? This means he thinks it's uncomfortably small. And final one, how does the writer use language to describe the house Kieran visits? Again, I've not highlighted one on this quote, but the quote that I would probably zoom in on would be abandoned. Again, human dictionary, what does abandoned mean? This suggests the house is deserted. So all you're doing is picking out a word and saying the effect on the reader. So, okay, so now you have a go. So I'll put it on the slide, on the video. Just pause the video and see what answers you would come up with. Okay. So pause the video. Okay, so if we look at an actual exam one now, this is about a guy called Mike Perham, who sailed around the world on his own, 17-year-old boy. And the question was, how does the writer shows Mike's trip was tough? So really simple. You'd go through that extract and you try to highlight 9 or 10 things that showed it was a tough journey. So you would highlight anything where the writer's deliberately used words to make the voyage sound tough, hard, or difficult. So what we'll do is, just because we're on the video, I'll pick out some quotes and you tell me what you would say. Okay, so the first one, sorry for the huge, disgusting image, but Mike had huge blisters on his hands from day one. So have a think to yourself and think, why would that make it really tough for him? Well, pretty simply, it would be painful, incredibly painful, and day one suggests it's happened all the way through his trip. So my answer would be, the writer makes it seem tough by describing Mike having huge blisters on day one. This tells the reader he was in pain all the way through his trip. So if we look at another one, the weather was like torture for Mike. So again, zoom into the word torture, and what does it mean? Yeah, so it means a severe physical pain as a form of punishment. So my answer would be, the writer shows the trip was tough with the quote torture. This tells the reader the weather was punishing and painful for Mike. Now your turn, okay? So pause the video and have a go and see if you can come up with a few answers for these. And there's the answer that we've already looked at for help. Okay, so Mike did the trip solo. Why does that make it more difficult? Well, it's done by one person. He's alone. He's unaccompanied. So my answer would be, it seems tough with solo. This means Mike did the whole trip alone and with no help from others. He might have become very lonely. Okay, it doesn't just say Mike experienced storms. It doesn't say big storms. The writer's chosen to use the adjective monstrous. So what does that tell us about the storms? Well, if we looked in the dictionary, it would be ugly, vicious, scary, horrible. So again, just put that into your answer. So it seems tough as monstrous makes the sound of the weather, big, scary, powerful. Again, it says the boat went berserk. Again, be a human dictionary. What does it mean? It means out of control, erratic, unpredictable, crazy. So look at the answer here. Notice all these answers as well. 1 or 2 sentences, not 9 or 10. Okay, and here are all the answers we just looked at. The only other one I didn't say was battled 50-foot waves. This is tough as it suggests the waves are gigantic. Look at the verb. It doesn't say he had to deal with 50-foot waves. Battled. What is a battle? Well, it's a fight. It's a struggle. And the one we looked at. Okay, so hopefully that's been of some use to you, and good luck in your exam.